Meet Nigel McGuinness. During his time from 1999 to 2011, McGuinness established himself as one of the best professional wrestlers of the 21st century, as well as one of the greatest and most well-respected wrestlers of the European wrestling scene. During his career, he wrestled throughout many of the top promotions across the world, most notably ROH, where he won the World and Pure Championship, Pro Wrestling Noah, PWG, TNA under the ring name Desmond Wolfe, and many others. During the 2000s, the one company that Nigel never got to properly perform for was WWE. We would see him as a commentator for NXT and 205 Live during the late 2010s, early 2020s, but we never saw him as a full-time performer for the company. He agreed to a deal in principle in 2009 to wrestle full-time, but it would get rescinded when he would get surgery. But what if I told you that he did wrestle for WWE once in 2005 in a tryout match while he was the Ring of Honor Pure Champion? And that is what we will be discussing in today's video. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see more videos about the random stuff that comes to my brain in regards to pro wrestling, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. With that being said, let's get right into it. As I mentioned before, McGuinness would wrestle throughout every promotion wrestling had to offer during the 2000s, and this would include WWE. Nigel wrestled on an episode of Sunday Night Heat on September 5th, 2005, while Nigel was the reigning ROH Pure Champion, as he won the title from Samoa Joe on August 27th, 2005, 9 days before this match took place. His opponent would be noted tag team wrestler Danny Basham, and if the Basham name sounds familiar to you, that's because he was one half of the Basham brothers with his kayfabe brother Doug, who he won the WWE tag team titles with twice. They were also a part of the cabinet stable with then WWE champion JBL and Orlando Jordan. For whatever reason, Danny got traded to Raw as part of the WWE draft and would kind of wander about, going in between appearances on Saturday Night Heat and going to catering. It was during this episode of Heat that Basham debuted this gimmick he used on the Independents, known as the Mashup. I'm not super familiar with this work outside of early 2000s WWE, so maybe I'm missing something with the gimmick, but the presentation and promo style kind of reminds me of those gimmicks on the Independents that use wearing darker clothing and talking in a deeper voice just as a gimmick.
I'm sick of the shadows. I'm sick of being a team player. I'm sick of being underestimated. Do not dismiss what you do not understand. Fear me. Fear Danny Basham.
The match took place on September 5th, 2005 and aired on September 11th, 2005 and took place at the Gaylord Entertainment Center, now known as the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee, before the September 5th episode of Monday Night Raw. Now that we've gotten all that out of the way, let's get into the match. The bell rings and Basham starts clobbering away at Nigel. Basham repeatedly delivers kicks to the corner until McGuinness is eventually seated, where Basham would continue the attack and make his way to the outside of the ring to place Nigel's head on the ring post and push in McGuinness' head with a boot. McGuinness got in his first bit of offense in the match, a couple of kicks while in the corner, but Basham put an end to that immediately, whips Nigel into the ropes, and delivers a pretty good clothesline. Following this, commentator Jonathan Coachman was talking about Nigel McGuinness like he was some schmuck off the streets that they brought in, and I know he pretty much is in the WWE verse, but hearing Coach talk about a wrestler like Nigel shitting his pants over Danny Basham is quite surprising upon first listen, given how everything played out over the years.
Do you think maybe Nigel McGuinness came into tonight's match and said, hey, I'm going up against Danny Basham. I got a shot. He's a nice guy. He won't hurt me too much. And then out comes this Danny Basham and Nigel saying, uh-oh, maybe I need to go back to England where I belong.
During this interaction on commentary, McGuinness connects to the stomach of Basham with one shot, but Basham kind of shrugs that off and continues the attack. Basham delivers a snapmare and grabs at the nostrils of McGuinness as the referee counts. Basham would bounce off of the ropes and deliver an elbow drop as well. Basham keeps Nigel in almost a snapmare headlock for almost 20 seconds before Nigel fights back a little bit to break it off, but Danny stays in front of him on offense and throws him into the corner to deliver a mean-looking chop. Danny whips Nigel to the opposite corner. Nigel tries to counter Basham with a kick, but Basham catches the foot and gives McGuinness a lariat into the corner. Basham picks McGuinness up and delivers a suplex straight down to the mat. As Nigel gets up, he gets Basham in the stomach with some shots, gets him with an uppercut, and it looks like he's getting a little bit of momentum, but that's when Basham would shut it down yet again. Basham hits him with some jabs in the right hand as Nigel goes down yet again. Basham locks in that snapmare headlock for another 15 seconds or so before Nigel fights out of it yet again, gives Basham an arm drag, and gets him in a backslide for a 2 count on what was the first pin attempt from either man in this match. Nigel tries to build off of this, but Basham counters, kicks him in the gut, and delivers a reverse suplex slam to McGuinness. Following this, Basham gets McGuinness up and delivers a reverse DDT to get the 3 count and to finally end this match. Let's just call it what it is. This was a squash. I feel like we all kind of figured as much going into this match. Hell, you probably even realized that when you clicked on the video. Sunday Night Heat was a show where undercard wrestlers go to test out new characters and see if that gets over with the live crowd and the people watching online, and it's just for undercard wrestlers to stack up wins. Main event is today's equivalent to that, but I can't really think of an example off the top of my head where this has been an effective method for character development. No disrespect at all intended towards Danny, but I've seen variations of this gimmick done by so many people over the last 10 years alone that this does not move me in the slightest. His moveset as well does not work for the character basing off of just this match alone, as half of the match was literally just headlocks and some basic offense. The match itself was absolutely no good, but it was also never meant to be. I wish each shows had a competitive local competitor versus contracted wrestler match once in a while. Like, I just saw some clips the other day of Low-Key versus Christian on WWF Metal, and it was pretty solid. I don't know, I'm kind of yapping at this point though, so let's just move on to what Nigel did after this match. In the years following, Nigel would become the longest reigning Ring of Honor Pure Champion at 350 days, a record that still stands to this very day, as well as the second longest reigning ROH World Champion in history, with his only reign lasting 545 days. As I mentioned earlier, WWE offered him a contract in 2009, and he finished up with ROH that September. In October, it was announced that WWE rescinded the offer after McGuinness failed a pre-screening physical after he felt an old bicep injury needed surgery, and he would end up signing with TNA shortly thereafter and adopting the ring name Desmond Wolfe. He would wrestle an insane trilogy with Kurt Angle near the end of 2009, which I will probably cover in a later video, and then would immediately fuck off after that because Hulk Hogan just did not like him and decided he could try out the assortment that they had at catering. He eventually stopped wrestling for the promotion around September of 2010 after contracting hepatitis B, and was released in June of 2011 after months of in-ring activity and retiring from in-ring competition as a whole in December of that year. However, near the end of Nigel's tenure with TNA, he would call matches for their web series Explosion, and this would open the door to the next chapter of Nigel's career. McGuinness returned to ROH in 2011 to become the promotion's color commentator and would take Jim Cornette's spot as the on-screen authority figure for the company in November of 2012. He stayed in ROH for 5 years before re-signing in 2016 to join WWE, this time not as an active performer though. He was recommended to WWE by their lead commentator Michael Cole, and he would start his tenure calling the United Kingdom Championship Tournament with Cole in January of 2017. From there, he regularly did color commentary for NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live until about 2022 when he would be released by WWE. He wouldn't stay a free agent for long, however, as he was signed by AEW to commentate ROH and their Saturday night show Collision, and that is where he is signed to this day. During his time in AEW, he even made his return to pro wrestling on their biggest stage at Wembley Stadium for All In just a few weeks ago as of this recording. It was Nigel's first match in nearly 13 years. This Sunday Night Heat match did absolutely nothing for Nigel, however, I did think it was a nice little novelty that we can kind of talk about, because I also don't know if a lot of people really knew about that. I didn't know about that until the other day when I was scrolling through Cage Match, so I figured I would just come on here and talk about that a little bit. But yeah, that was Nigel McGuinness's only match in WWE. What did you think? Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video, as I look for all feedback, positive or negative. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you do not miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.